Hello there, this is Brian with psntech.com. Today we're going to go ahead and show you how to make some wine. Now, the wine that we're making today is a little different than what you see on the other YouTube videos. The wine that we're making today is actually out of 100% frozen juice concentrate. Now, the reason that we've done this is because, well, you can make 5 gallons of wine for about $13. $13 is a lot cheaper than paying $100 for the wine kits. Now, you have to have some materials other than just the grape juice in order to make this wine. Now, of course, first of all, what you need is you need a big bucket. What this is, it's called a primary fermenter. Now, this can be anything, a food grade bucket. This is a 5.5 gallon one. And you start your mix out in here first. And you pour all your materials, all your additives, everything in here, and you'll let the wine ferment using the yeast for 5 or 6 days. This is to allow the yeast to get more oxygen and allow the yeast to multiply. Now, of course, the next thing that you have to have, well, is your grape juice in general. This is 100% white grape juice. Now, it actually also has some raspberry in it. This is a 12 fluid ounce container. Usually you can find 11.5, and you need about 2 of these to make 1 gallon. You just take 2 of these and then you put it in, mix it all up with about 1 gallon of water, and we'll do that later on here in the video as well. Now, the next thing that's very important, and I cannot stress this enough, is sanitation. Sanitizing all of your materials and anything that comes into contact with the wine is very important. If you do not do this, you may end up getting all kinds of wild yeasts, other bacteria, or even molds in your wine. This can cause vinegar or other really bad tastes that you do not want in your wine. Now, what I use is something called 5-Star Star San sanitizing solution. Now, this, you only need 1 ounce will make 5 gallons of sanitizing solution, but you don't need to use that much. I'm only going to use about 1/5 of an ounce, which is good for making 1 gallon of sanitizing solution. So we'll get to that here just in a moment. The next thing is called an airlock. This is an S-shaped airlock, and this will be put on your lid. It goes right in here. And what this does is it allows the carbon dioxide to escape out of your primary fermenter and out into the air, but it does not allow oxygen back in that may make your wine bad. Next thing, I just use a turkey baster. A turkey baster is much like a wine thief. What you'll want to do with this is you'll draw up some of your wine and then you put it in this. This is basically just a cylinder here, and then there is what we call a hydrometer. The hydrometer has many measurements on it. It measures the specific gravity. Now, the specific gravity tells you how much sugar is in your wine. What you want to aim for is about 1.100 specific gravity on this scale, which is right there. If you go any lower than that, you're going to have less alcohol. But at 1.100, your alcohol is about 14%. So that's what a hydrometer is used for, is to measure how much sugar is in your wine. We'll have to add quite a bit of sugar to this in order to get it up to the right specific gravity. The next item here is called potassium metabisulfite. What this is a solution that puts sulfur into your solution, and this will also keep wild yeast and everything else out of your solution. This will allow the yeast to go ahead and make the wine and take over the wine and keep all the other wild yeast and things like that out. The next, well, it is yeast nutrient. The yeast nutrient, you need about 1 teaspoon per gallon, and this gives the yeast what they need to grow and multiply very well so they can take over and then re-ferment very quickly. Next is bentonite. Bentonite is a clay solution, and what it's used for is fining out your wine. You use a little bit of this, and you want to make sure that you stir it in while you add it. Now, there's a lot of controversy as to whether you want to add this in during the start or to add it in the end. I like to add it in the beginning because when you add it in the beginning, the yeast and the carbon dioxide keep it floating and then it attaches to proteins and other particles that can make your wine hazy, and then it makes your wine very clear. So that's the point of using a fining agent. Last two things here, your yeast. I use the Premier Cuvée, however you pronounce it there, just in a packet. One packet will work up to 5-6 gallons of wine. So you can use this just in 1 gallon, 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 6. But if you go more than 6 gallons at a time, you really need to use more than one packet of yeast. And lastly, you have some pectic enzyme. What this does is it attaches itself to the gelatin and the material inside the wine, and then it helps also to fine it out, much like bentonite.